First of all, thank you for having us, and thank you for your service in the U.S. Navy and being a Pearl Harbor survivor. Thank you very, very much. Can you say your name and spell it?
Ray Wans, W-A-N-S, Senior.
Senior, okay.
W-A-N-S, yeah.
So, let's talk about your years in the Navy. Did you enlist?
March 28th, 1941, San Francisco.
Okay. Where'd you go to boot camp?
San Diego.
San Diego. How was that experience?
Different.
And you were 17 years old, right?
Yeah,
17.
When they give us our haircuts, they went in and they said you can have any kind of haircut you want as long as it's a pig shave.
As long as it's what?
As long as it's a pig shave?
yeah, as long as it's a pig shave.
As long as it's a pig shave.
They come out bald head.
Any kind of haircut you want.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's an experience.
Yeah.
So when did you get the word that you were going to Hawaii?
Well, the Curtis came from a brand new ship, brand new seaplane tender, and they stopped at this naval station, training station there, and they picked up, filled out our crew. They take a whole bunch of us out, put them on the Curtis. There was a lot of them there, and we left. It was training station there. They tied up there so we could just go aboard. So we took our sea bag, and they give you a hammock then, because the battleships, most of the battleships slept in hammocks. So this weighed about 80 pounds, I guess, or something like that. So we went aboard the Curtis there, and see, it was 5 days later we pulled into Pearl Harbor, and it was an experience. I just thought it was the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life, you know. And anyway, we were lined up to go to the Philippines. This was in early November of 1941, and they changed our orders, and instead they wanted to build up Wake Island. We had to, I mean, there was 150 of them with all their heavy equipment. So we loaded them up and took off, got underway for Wake Island, 2,000 miles west of Pearl Harbor. And we pulled into Wake, and it was heavy, the surf was heavy, almost storms, you know. So we couldn't tie up and unload their heavy equipment, so what we did, we went back and forth for 2 weeks. It was 3 weeks. And finally it calmed down, the sea did. And so we sent the crew, the 150 workers to shore on motor launch. So we tied up and unloaded their gear, and while we were there, the China Clipper landed. And they just had one plane, but it went to China.
What year was this? 1940 or
1941? Yeah, 41. November.
November. Okay.
Yeah, early November of 41.
Okay.
So they stopped at Wake to fuel and then go on to Alameda, where if it had been going the other way, they'd not got very far, and they'd ended up in a concentration camp for 4 years, very close to 4 years. And so that was quite an experience. So when we pulled out of Wake Island, little did we know that 200 miles north, and a day and a half, a little over a day and a half later, just about the whole Japanese fighting force
was behind you.
Behind us, following us into Pearl Harbor. So we pulled into Pearl Harbor on December the 5th, and I had liberty that night. So I didn't feel like going to Honolulu, so I went over to Mary Point Landing there, and they had an auditorium over there.
Block Arena?
Yeah.
Block Arena.
Okay, yeah.
And the battleships were having a contest. Their bands were, and that night the Arizona won. I don't know which battleship they won against, but the next night, of course, they lost the first place to USS Pennsylvania. So so we and all of them were killed on
the Arizona band members. All
yeah,
were
the
killed.
Arizona band.
Did you like the music?
Oh, they're beautiful. Yeah, yeah. And so we just that's just something I wanted to say about before I start my narrative, and I'm going to sing a couple songs.
Okay.
Becky requested this one here, so I'm going to sing that for her.
Okay.
It's very clear our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In times the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble, they're only made of clay, but our love is here to stay. And then another song.
He's got one more.
Beautiful.
Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we go to meet the foe. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we did the Alamo, for we will always remember how they died for liberty. Let's remember Pearl Harbor and go on to victory.
Beautiful. Because you and Bob you sang together in the ship, right? Fernandez.
Oh, is that
You and Bobby sang together on the ship, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I talked about Bob.
Yeah.
Bobby Fernandez was a real good friend of mine, and we hit it off right off the bat because we love music, and he loves the same kind of music I did. So we'd sing songs back and forth together and just had a good time together. He was a wonderful buddy of mine, and I appreciated his company very much. And he, when we went to the reunion, and we hadn't seen each other for 46 years, well, it was a wonderful meeting together again. And Bob he can not only dance, but he could sing too.
Yeah.
And he was just a very talented person.
What did you think about that video we just showed you about him dancing with the Rosies?
Oh, you should have seen him.
Yeah.
You could take those 2 feet and make him. Gene Kelly never had anything on him all day.
Now you're goodbye. You all left me with eyes that cry. Why should I go on, dear? Now all of you. Now you took the part. Used to be my heart. So why not? Why not? So why not take all of me?
Now, did you guys sing in the?
He knew how to move his tootsies. I'll tell you that.
Okay,
It was
okay.
great. And we had a wonderful time.
Did you work with him on the ship?
Oh yeah. We worked together on.
For 2 years you were on the Curtis together, weren't
See,
you?
when you were, I was on Gun 4, and a guy by the name of Nick Gannis, he relieved me off Gun 4, and I started mess cooking for. It kind of changed positions every once in a while. You only had to mess cook so long, and then they put you back in the regular routine. But anyway, he
you used to wrestle
he
him.
went to Gun 4, and I went to mess cooking.
And didn't you used to wrestle him before?
And
He was a good wrestler, wasn't he?
oh yeah, we used to wrestle together. And he was a little bit heavier than me and probably stronger too, but he could pin me all the time. But I got dirty about it. I used my knuckles and I put it into his ribs, and he threw his arms up. He was kind of goosey, you know, in that way. So and then I'd pin him. So he was just a wonderful boy, and I really cared a lot for him. And he's also advanced some. He was a boxer. He was on the boxing team at the Curtis, and he boxed with some people that were spar partners for world champion, world champion of the world. Two of them that he boxed for get together, chance to go with the world championship of the world. Welterweight, I guess it was. So he was a real good boxer.
Yeah.
But he was that guy was. You can't even imagine him boxing with anybody because he had such a sweet spirit, you know, about him. He never had a mean bone in his body.
He's married in the punch bowl now, isn't he, Daddy?
He's laying. Yeah.
Tell me, you gave me a picture earlier that you visited his grave.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
You visited his grave at the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, Nick Gannis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And they said on there not to put flowers on the graves of the interned. And I put Nancy and I put them on anyway. And it was quite an experience. And then let's get to Pearl Harbor. I was mess cooking, and the funny thing, but I remember peeling an apple. And I heard this plane dive. And I said, what's a plane doing diving on Sunday morning, you know? So I went over to the starboard hatch, which was open, and I looked up and I saw this plane with two red balls on its wings. And I seen a bomb came right out of the bomb bay and exploded on the field there at the landing strip at Fort Island. And then they said, it came over the loudspeaker, man your battle stations, and this is not a drill. Well, I knew it wasn't a drill because you don't bomb your own airfield.
Yeah.
So I went back to where I had my battle station there in the Pico storage, and all hell broke loose, and they were bombing all over the place, and it was going on. And I looked over at Ginger, which was his name. He was, I guess, my partner that we had handled the other end of the stretcher. And I said, Ginger Rich, I said, you know how to pray? And he didn't say anything. So I said, well, let's pray anyhow. So we did, and that prayer, and my mother's prayers, my mother prayed for me when I was, when she died of pneumonia in 1928, and I was 1 year old, and I'm sure she prayed for me, and I think that prayer is still with me to this day.
1925.
1925,
Yeah.
Certainly, yeah, I'm sorry, baby. And so then, one other thing, I started straight, when I got back to the Pico storage, the cargo hatch was open, and it hooked onto the gangplank. They had a platform there where you could step out and close and open the cargo hatch. So I stepped out there and I went to close, and the guys inside said, get back, Ray, you're gonna get killed. Well, I wasn't thinking about getting killed, I was just doing my duty. He says, and my duty was to close all cargo hatches. So that's what I did. And then another time, I was in part of the Pico storage. I was strafing right above me there, and we had an SB-2C. It's a patrol plane.
Okay.
And it blew up right over my head.
Huh.
And being a gasoline explosion, it didn't penetrate the deck, you know, it just stayed on top. So then started in, all hell broke loose. And one thing we would start with the two-man submarine. They were going for us, and they fired 2 torpedoes at us, and they missed. And gun 3 put a 5-inch projectile through the conning tower, and the USS Monaghan came down stream there and dropped depth charges and sunk it. And then the next one was about 7 or 8 planes came at us at the same time, and they missed with every bomb. There was near misses on both port and starboard side, but one hit right underneath the gun 4 in the in the hangar deck, and killed 16 of my buddies right in there. In the
500-pound bomb?
500-pound bomb, yeah. And then we had a 2-man bomber crashed into the number 3 crane. They say that was the first kamikaze of the war, you know, because we never had any kamikazes in them days. But it flattened that crane, so when it was all over.
Well, you got don't forget Ensign Kelly.
Oh yeah, I got
Ralph Kelly.
Oh, okay, we'll get on that. So we were listing heavily to starboard. We're going to flip if we didn't catch it pretty soon. And Ensign Kelly, he came aboard on the 5th, and there was 44 men on the beach, and one of them was the damage control officer, Ensign Kelly, Ralph Kelly. He went to his battle stations when he sounded general quarters, and he asked his chief there. He said, "Who's in charge here?" So Ensign Kelly, he said to Ensign Kelly, he says, "You are." So he just, when the bomb hit, it practically blew his shirt off his back and broke his leg, and didn't even slow him down. He started in, and I was walking up the deck on my hands and knees, and we were burning from midships to stern on fire, and he figured out that the water that they were fighting the fires with got too much water on the starboard side, and that's what was making it list so badly. So he flooded the ballast tanks on the port side, and then we got going too far over to the port side. So he finally played teeter-totter there and stopped the listing and got it on an even keel. And then he started fighting the fires, which were all over the place, you know, and that was it. And
it sounded terrifying.
It was all over with, and that's they sunk the buoy astern of it too,
okay.
and peppered the fantail with shrapnel. And this one kid, his name was Edmund. I can't remember his first name, but they named a street for him in New England. And we also had some other fellow. His name was Red Green. And when all my buddies died in the hangar, in the handling room of Gun 4, well, he went over to the hatch, and it was still almost red hot, you know, and he opened the hatch to see, but it was to no avail because they were all dead down there. Well, so there was a few of them still alive, but they were dying, you know. And burnt one. We had one that his face was just as black as my pants here, and he wanted me to. He was from Texas. I can't remember his name, but I never saw him again. So we took all the injured and the dead down to the hangar deck, and the rest of them went by motor launch over to the hospital ship. Let's see, I can't remember the name of it, or the hospital Naval Hospital in Pearl City. Yeah, and so that night, Perry, he came with me from Fresno, and we joined Navy together in San Francisco. He said, "Look at my neck, will you, Ray?" And so I looked at it, and it looked like a bunch of jelly, you know. And so I got some tweezers and tried to get it out of there, and you couldn't move it. So I said, "You better get down to the sick bay, Perry, because that's real deep in there." So there's a story about that with Becky's legs.
Oh, you don't have to tell that. Didn't they throw one of your friends in the dead pile too? He woke up and he was in the.
Oh yeah, one of the sailors got knocked out when the big explosion went off, and he ended up with the dead on the hangar deck there, and he woke up, and he got up and he says, "What am I doing here?" You know, so that's not funny, but I mean that's what happened.
It sounded terrifying the whole day, right?
I thought it went on all day.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it out of my head. My timing went haywire.
Yeah.
And when you hit the sack that night, what happened?
Yeah, I hit the sack, and there were empty bunks all over the place. Half of our 2nd Division was either killed or wounded, yeah. And that was very bad. And so that was the, then we went, that night we...
Jim has a question.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So when you realized what had happened, that Japan had attacked by air, what was your first reaction?
What was your first reaction when you knew you had been attacked by Japan from the air? What was your reaction?
That's a very good question. I had a little advance, notice to go into, they call general quarters and all that. And I knew it was big. I knew it was big. I mean, worldwide. I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was a really big thing, and that it just shook me to the core.
Yeah.
And but I was able to operate. I mean, I didn't lose my sense of duty or anything like that. I just done what I had to do, and when it was all over that night, I stood a watch on gun 2 in the handling room, and I went in there, and this sailor was putting a 78 record on this, they call them phonographs then.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Ella Fitzgerald, and I got it bad, and that ain't good.
Oh.
Goes something like this, I'll just sing a little. Never treats me sweet and gentle the way she should. Well, I've got it bad, and that ain't good. My poor heart is sentimental, not made of wood. Well, I've got it bad, and that ain't good. And when the weekend's over and Monday rolls around, I'll end up like I started out, just crying my heart out. So it was apropos.
Mm-hmm.
And then we...
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
Did you listen to FDR's speech the next day?
Did you hear FDR's speech the very next day?
Yes, I think they did play it. Yeah,
played
yeah.
it.
It was. He said it was
A day that...
day that will live in infamy.
Yeah.
Greatest speech ever made, I think. Yeah, next to the Gettysburg Address,
Yeah.
And so I think that what really brought me through this whole war and everything that I had, the Great Depression, was music. Music is a great healer, and if people will keep a love song, especially the ballads, love ballads, you know, and everything, and the others good too. And Bobby, he could sing either one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was later on in my life, I'd worked for the railroad for 26 years. My wife, I was working, I was going to be a baker, and this was after the war, of course. And I worked for a fellow in Seattle there, can't remember his name, Bert Graham.
Okay.
Yeah, Bert Graham, and he done everything he could for the veterans, and he rehired me. I went to Ellensburg and worked for a while, and but I was always going on strike, so I didn't. I couldn't. You got to make a living, you know. You can't go on strike your whole. So I went over to Seattle, and he rehired me there, and I was living with my my brother, and sleeping on the Davenport, and hard to get a place to live in them days. And rebuild anything in 7 years. They were living in basements, attics, garages, the whole ball of it. I lived in 3 chicken coops.
Wow.
So but I got the fleas in one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and anyway, yeah, Dad, we took a. This was before the war. My dad was an operating engineer, and he ran one of the big rigs too. So he ran a hammerhead and. Grand Coulee, and I saw that dam being built from bedrock right over the top. And somebody asked my dad, he said, no, I said, my dad has poured enough concrete into this Grand Coulee Dam to build a 2-lane road, concrete road to New York City. And he did. 24 hours a day, boy, and it ran on a track, a Tunaville trolley, you know, with 2, 3 5-yard buckets of concrete, and Dad kept pouring it, and he dropped them. He could go any place with that thing, you know, and he dropped them right in what they called the blocks. And my brother was a pipe fitter, so he didn't have to go in combat.
1935 to 1939, but we skipped the whole war. We got to go back to.
Yeah, and I got out.
Let's do talk about after Pearl Harbor. Where did you serve?
Yeah.
Jim wanted to know, where did you serve after Pearl Harbor? What happened after Pearl Harbor?
Well, that's what I went to Ellensburg. Is my
No. We after Pearl Harbor, the next day you pulled into Honolulu to get repairs done to the Curtis, right?
Oh yeah. The crane was flattened, so you had to get the junk off there, you know. So and we went to San Diego, North Island it was there, and in a convoy. So they took the crane off, and when we went back to Pearl Harbor, another convoy, there was an oil tanker there. It was with us in the convoy, and it was sunk at the Battle of Coral Sea. Forget the name of the ship now. But anyway, so then we went down to the South Pacific and looked for a place to make our place where we could handle the planes, you know, and we were the eyes of the fleet, actually, the PBY. And they were twin engine job, and I used to handle the crews that took the crews out there into.
You were the coxswain.
Yeah, I was a coxswain
of the motorboat.
Yep. And so a 3-man crew, and one night they sent me out to the submarine places where they fueled submarines there, and I picked up some men there, and one of them was a colonel, and he was a James Roosevelt, president's son.
Wow.
So I took him from the submarine over to the Curtis, so he'd take care of. But then I got on the, they bombed us there in in Espirito Santo in the New Hebrides, but just one bomber, and he wasn't a very good shot. Thank God for that. And 2 ships, the USS Tucker and the USS Calvin Coolidge, they both hit our own bombs. What do you call it? Depth charge? No,
Yeah,
no. I
yeah.
mean, well, they're floating bomb anyway, and they sunk.
Oh.
And this one, some officer came over, and I was called out, and we went to get some of the men that. Well, anyway, there was one I think that they didn't find over there, and he was bloated to. It's like a big balloon, you know. I mean. And he wrote a letter to, and I kind of took a liking to the guy, and
You forgot the part. You went around the bodies very carefully to be very.
oh yeah, he was so the way he handled that guy and everything just really impressed me.
You wanted to be
had
very.
a lot of love there,
Yeah.
and he wanted to talk to me again, you know. And the fellow that was running the reunion, he didn't know anything about it, so he didn't name any names or anything, so he threw it away.
He wanted to
I never
speak.
got
He
to
wanted to
meet him.
speak to the man that was so
Yeah,
respectful,
yeah,
going
yeah,
around the
yeah.
loaded bodies there.
Yeah,
So you were on the Curtis for two years.
2
weren't you?
years, yeah.
What about after the Curtis? Where did you
And
go?
one more thing had happened there. The fleet got underway, and they were at flank speed, and these waves coming in, picked that motor whaleboat up, set it about 25 or 30 feet up on the beach, high and dry. So I assessed the situation, and there was a mango swamp there, and a copra plantation. Cade would know about the copra, which is no, that's pineapple, right? But anyway, by the way, while I'm talking that, I've never tasted any better pineapple than Hawaiian pineapple. Them Philippine
It's
pineapple.
simply the best.
They don't.
Really is
They're
simply
not
the
even
best.
in the ball game. They had a fountain there, that ran pineapple juice.
Yeah.
You go in there and drink your fill. At Dole, I think it was.
Dole Plantation Cannery is still the most popular, one of the most
Wow,
popular visitor.
wow.
When you go there, you got to go through it. It has a
Oh yes,
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
maybe they got a free fountain there too.
Yeah.
big. Are you planning on coming to the trip?
No.
When we first went over to Hawaii, they had what they called a little train. You know, you sat sideways on it, and then take you right into Honolulu. It was for a dime or something like that.
Yeah, Honolulu.
But anyway, they took that off and went to the buses after that. But it was so if we finally found a place, we went to New Caledonia, and had a submarine trailed us all the way from Funafuti, trying to get a shot at us. And they fired at us, I guess, before when we got in the channel. It was too late. They didn't want to mess with it. That's a deadly thing for a submarine to get around a destroyer, because they literally they got you zeroed in on radar. See, they know right where you're at, and they can put those depth charges right in your nose. And so we got out of that mess, and we went home after 2 years, and boy, when you saw that Golden Gate, it sure looked good. And
Went back to San Francisco then.
and then San Francisco, and then got to leave, and went to Bremerton. And, was coxswain up there in Bremerton for a while, and then they sent Keith and I back to.
Keith
By the way,
Vinson.
Keith was my
Keith Vinson,
Okay.
Keith Vincent. He was a ski jumper from Leavenworth,
Washington.
and and he was a good one.
You knew all these athletes, didn't you?
Yeah.
You could go 200 feet in the air, you know. And
Wow.
I said, Keith, I went out on the end run of that thing. And you look down and all you could see was farmhouses down there. I said, Keith, I said, how do you get up enough nerve to go off this thing? And he says, well, you got to start when you're about that high.
So let me ask you this
Yeah,
question.
that's right, too. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So the 4 years you served in the Navy was 2 years in the Curtis and then 2 years on the continent, right?
After the Curtis leave, then you went to Norfolk, Virginia,
Yes.
and commissioned the
Commissioned
new USS Hornet
CV-12.
yes, from
Okay.
Norfolk, Virginia.
And the CV-13 was the next ship down the ways, and it was hit by a one plane, but he put it right on where they were just getting ready. They were unloaded. All of them were completely armed.
Mm-hmm.
So it was and they hit it, and it spread to all these planes, torpedo planes, fighters, and for about, I think it blew up for about a day and a half or
Oh, my
something.
goodness.
They lost. It was either 400 or 700.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't remember
Wow.
which, but
Wow.
there was really bad.
But this,
So I can't fly a plane now on the 13th. I might not be the what do you call it?
but you're superstitious.
Superstitious.
But you were on the CV-12 Hornet, and
Yes.
you went through the Panama Canal, and
Went
then
through the Panama Canal
happened
and
after
came
that?
up and then down to the South Pacific. And we went to one island after another. Truck, Peleliu, Marianas, Saipan, Tinian, northern Japan, Hokkaido, and Iwo Jima, and all the places there. And we softened them up for the landing parties. And I'll just tell you one instance of action, if put you in the action part of it. I was on Gun 8, off the hangar deck there, and we had a bogey up there. He's floating around, but we had him in the radar, but we couldn't tell right where he was at. So out of the sun, he came out of the sun, so you couldn't see him very well, see. So he was coming down and coming right for my gun, Gun 8. I was a pointer. I was sitting right there and looking up, at the plane, and you could see four streams of bullets coming right out of that thing, and they kind of floated it looked like they were going to hit me right in the eye. I thought, well, you can't miss, and I just kept firing at him. And anyway, just before he hit the ship, he went hard to starboard. Took a turn hard starboard, and he went right down a line of 20 millimeter gun crews, and they killed a lot of sailors there. So that's and my best friend Keith Vincent, the ski jumper, he was on a 20 millimeter on the port side. He came running down the deck, and from his angle, it looked like that and he yelled out at me, "You all right, Ray? You all right?"
Uh-oh.
And I said, "Yeah, I'm okay, I guess."
Can I
Pinch
ask
myself.
one question? And why did the USS Hornet receive the presidential? Your crew received the presidential citation.
Yeah, we were raiding them at an island up in and close to Japan there, and I can't remember right now what the name, but it was close to this base, and they sent out torpedo planes at dusk. And the first night they hit the Canberra, and the stern went dead in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So we took it under tow, and then the night before we left, we were 3 days off for Formosa. That's the place.
Formosa.
And yeah, and they had us right in their sights. But we were broke up in four deals. You got 4 divisions of Task Force 58. You traveled in 4. You got the carriers, 2 big carriers, and 1 small one, and about 3 cruisers, and 14 destroyers, and this was the what's that town in Texas, Becky?
I don't know.
I can't think of the name of it right now. Anyway, there was another cruiser there, and this explosion. We had an explosion, and he was right so close to us that we shook it like a rag doll, like that. So I thought sure we were hit, but it hit them instead of us. They call it screening. They put those cruisers and battleship, everything right into cover that carrier, because the carrier is the most. That's what they wanted to get to, and sink, and they did. They got the not the Ticonderoga, but they sunk a lot of them, and 4 of them, and
can I ask a
big
question?
carriers, and they got the Randolph. They got the I can't think of the names. The Wasp. We used to travel with the Wasp a lot.
Okay.
USS Wasp.
Jim,
And
So when you heard the war was over, what was your reaction?
well, it just struck me that kind of like I had the feelings, but I was so worn out from everything. I was kind of, well, I'll explain it to you here. When I was transferred off the Hornet to the Enterprise in Ulythia, I thought I was sick, so they were going to send me back to the States, and I went aboard the Enterprise and slept on 16 inches of steel the first night. So they gave me the bunk the next day, and it was so high, if I fell out of that thing, I think it was 6 bunks high, I'd have broke my neck. And I was going through the chow line, and this fella comes up and he said, "What are you doing in there, Ray?" And here was Bobby Wise, a real good friend of mine that I went to high school with in Grand Coulee. And he was in charge of the ship's service. That means all the cooks, bakers, storerooms, whatever. And so he took me and underhand and got me a couple of mattresses and a lower bunk, one almost as low as you can get. And he even mustard for me, and I got to eat with him too. And he just took care of me for 5 days, and I slept for 5 days. That's how tired I was. I just except for getting up, eating, showering, and whatever you have to do, Well, so we had after the war was over, we had to go back and forth of Japan to make sure that everybody knew the war was over. You don't want to go shooting at each other when it's all over with. So we went a whole month, and then we pulled into Tokyo Bay, and I was one of the first ones to leave because I had done my duty. I signed up for 4 years, but they keep you in for the duration of the war. So they sent me aboard the USS Indiana, the battleship, and 12 days later, I think it was, we pulled into San Francisco, right in town there.
So you witnessed the surrender ceremony?
he wanted to know if you were at the surrender ceremony when
No, I wasn't.
Okay,
No,
you were just
no.
in the area.
No, I
Yeah, he
didn't.
was
We
in Tokyo Bay.
were going back and forth out there.
They had to stay there
You were
a month.
guarding the,
Make
you were
sure,
guarding the
make sure
surroundings.
somebody
Yes.
didn't come
And
in
even
there
after they surrendered, they
something
had
or
to stay there a month
Okay.
to
Yeah.
make sure that they weren't going to go back on it. So,
And somebody wouldn't know the war was over, see,
Okay.
because
Well,
it takes time,
yeah.
you know, to tell everybody to do it. The war is over.
Jim has a question. Jim has a question.
we really have appreciated this. You've gotten so much information. It's really good. I have a question about what do you hope people remember about Pearl Harbor? You're one of 13 living World Pearl Harbor survivors. That's a minuscule amount of men who would serve that day. And so what do you think people should remember about Pearl Harbor?
Jim?
Those who served.
Jim says there's very few Pearl Harbor survivors left. He wants to know what you want people to remember about Pearl Harbor.
Love of country. Freedom. That's what it's all about. Freedom. And, yeah, honor you. Honor. That's how I finish one of my writings.
So what advice?
H-O-N-O-R, honor.
Okay.
That was a good question, by the way, Jim. And it's a small word, but it covers 2 columns in the dictionary. And etch it in the recess of your heart. Remember Pearl Harbor, and may God bless America. And there was this country, Jim, and
Chase.
came at a price, and the price wasn't cheap. And I'll end it there.
Thank you very, very much. How proud are you of your dad?
Oh my goodness. It just makes me want to cry. I'm so proud of him. He's lived a life of honor and integrity.
But we had a good time. She made my day for us. Yeah.
Becky, you want to read the poem?
Yes, I do, and I
Okay.
just want to say I'm just incredibly, couldn't be prouder, and my brother and sister too, and he has a grandson and a granddaughter, and we're just incredibly proud of him, and he's just lived an incredible life. I just want to say that he was 95 years old when he moved here to, and he was given another gift, and the gift was writing. And for the last over 5 years, close to 6 years, he wrote down remembrances of his life, and 260 of them. And I would like to read you one right now.
Perfect.
And the name of it is called A Wonderful Life. It's New Year's 2021. I just want to thank the Lord Jesus and all my family and loved ones for a life that exceeded all my expectations. I couldn't have been given a more happy one that goes back almost 97 years. Over 101 years now.
That's right.
Showers of blessings just keep falling all over the place. I was aboard the USS aircraft carrier Hancock CV-19. We were off Japan raiding the Japanese homeland. One day, it was early August 1945. I was just sitting in the mess hall. They had music over the loudspeaker. It was the song, I'll Be Seeing You. I had thought, how long is this carnage going to last? I had been riding a tightrope ever since Pearl Harbor. Soon after, it came over the loudspeaker, the war is over. I was headed home. I was soon headed home to, as Jimmy Stewart said, A Wonderful Life by Ray Wans, Sr., January 1st, 2021.